Good evening. I am Sharon Perkins, and I have the pleasure of having served on this board for almost 4 years. Tonight, I have the honor and privilege of paying tribute to Chris Hammon, friend and former executive director of the Oates Institute. This is an absolutely impossible task. As I sat down to write this tribute, I was reminded of the line from the song In the Sound of Music, "How do you catch a cloud and pin it down?" So I will not attempt to recap all of Chris's accomplishments and attributes. Many of you know Chris far better and for far longer than I have. But the 3 years I spent working with him on the Oates Board were full of fabulous experiences, and I am so grateful for them. So I want to briefly share about 2 things about Chris that will always stay with me: his ideas and his smile. Each of us has creative ideas. I personally have about 2 a year. It is just not my gift. But it was indeed Chris's gift, and we all benefited from it. Chris could generate more creative ideas over a single lunch than the Institute could implement in an entire year. He read voraciously. What he read, he stored in his amazing brain. His brain was not like a filing cabinet where you file something away and then forget about it until you need it years later. His brain was more like a pot of boiling soup, with each new piece of information providing a new ingredient into the mix. As the ingredients mixed and melded and blended together, new flavors and new ideas were constantly being created. Every minute, every day, every week, the soup became something different, something new, more complex, and increasingly delicious. When you fill a pot really, really full of soup and keep adding additional ingredients and then turn up the heat, little droplets of soup boil up and fly out of the soup pot on random flight paths all over your kitchen. Being with Chris was like that. Ideas would just fly out of his brain and you never knew what was coming next or from what direction. But the soup was fantastic, and it nourished our souls. Many of Chris's ideas turned into valuable contributions that altered and enhanced the way that we look at understanding and providing spiritual care. His perspective was unique. It challenged us to look at things from a new angle, which often led to major aha moments. Chris's article, Tending the Garden, helped me consider cancer from a new perspective. I believe it gave us all a deeper compassion for and a fuller understanding of the experience cancer patients face. But beyond that, it gave us something new to offer those we serve who have cancer. It carried a message not only of practical advice, but of incredible courage and boundless hope. That article was, as he was, a real and rare treasure. I want to share 2 comments from people who could not be here tonight and wanted to share their thoughts with us. From Dale Buffington, professor of counseling and pastoral care in the Los Angeles, California area, who is one of our facilitators. Chris was instrumental in getting me engaged with the Oates Institute. I moved from being a participant to being a facilitator because of the unique talents of Chris drawing me into the fold. Chris's ability to engage and connect many individuals was truly impressive, and we all benefited from those connections. From Carl Akin, chaplain at Women and Children's Hospital in North Adelaide, South Australia. I think a part of Chris's passion that has flown under the radar is his internationalism. It was at Chris's initiative that I have become involved in the Oates Institute. He saw and understood the need for the Institute to have a life outside and beyond the U.S. and to learn about the wider world. It was yet another part of his visionary nature. Chris was a true gift to humanity and faith. I will miss him. Chris was indeed a visionary, and his vision for the Institute and its programs never stopped expanding. If they had found life on Mars, Chris would have had 3 Martians signed up as Oates members before NASA could blink twice. Elaine Akin, author and longtime board member, now our board member emeritus, will share a poem that she has written about the wonderful event that celebrated Chris's life last May. Elaine, come on up.
A glorious send-off. It was most unfunereal. You wanted it that way, and we are grateful. For that and for so much more, this blue sky, cottony cloud kind of day seemed like another gift from you. The printed schedule of happenings on a bright yellow page, edged with sketches of crayons of all colors, would have delighted a first grader, but no more than it delighted those of us who could barely remember first grade. Attached were copies of your favorite poems, written by the likes of Wendell Berry, W.H. Auden, and Jane Kenyon. There were quotes from other giants, Nietzsche, Aeschylus, James Baldwin, along with a bow to the Peter Pan in you. I would say I wished you were there, but you were. Your spirit infused it all, the music, the anecdotes, encounters with old friends, expressions of love. You were there, wandering among the shifting clusters of people, wearing that almost smug grin, not so much pleased with yourself as with the people you had brought together. I lingered to the last, and as I left, imagined you being lifted up by rainbow-colored balloons toward a cloud shaped like the smiling face of God. Tonight, you'll be searching for the second star to the left and straight on till morning.
Thank you, Elaine. One of the things I remember fondly about that day were the smiles and the laughter as people shared their memories of Chris, which was so appropriate because Chris loved to laugh and he had such a wonderful smile. Actually, he had many smiles. The polite, professional smile, the warm, encouraging smile, the soft, compassionate smile, the relieved smile, and the, yes, we can do that, smile. And then there were the grins, the thank you grins, the delighted grins, and the I got unexpected great news today grins. Most of his ideas also came with a grin. The I've got a great idea grin, and the sheepish, I realized that one was not a great idea grin. And the charming but terribly impish grin that occurred just before he asked you to do something that you really didn't want to do. But he really, really, really wanted you to do it. And of course, you couldn't resist that particular grin. So you agreed to do whatever it was. And then the grin got really big. One of my personal favorites was the enormous, beaming, mischievous grin captured during a trip, during a family visit. Chris is sitting on the floor attempting to outbark the family dog. Tonight we want to honor Chris Hammon posthumously with the 2015 Oates Award for his contributions to the Oates Institute, for his contributions to our members and to his students, for his contributions to the fields of online learning and spiritual care, for his innovative ideas, for his boundless enthusiasm, for his extraordinary vision, and for his unique perspective. Above all, we want to say thank you for the many invaluable and lasting contributions he made to the personal, professional, and spiritual journeys of every life he touched, including each of ours. Annie Hammon, Chris's wife and partner of nearly 40 years, will accept the award on Chris's behalf and share her thoughts about Chris and the Oates Institute with us. Come on up, Annie.
It's a box.
It reads, the Wayne E. Oates Award 2015 for Vision and Contribution to the Oates Institute, Dr. Chris Hammon.
It is wonderful to look out and see family, not just blood family, not in-law family, but so many of you that I've known and so many of your names that I've heard over and over and over. He loved people, and he would ask that I also acknowledge his friend of the heart for, I can't do the math, Vern. Vern Farnham and he met, I think, the first day of seminary and have been staunch friends and brothers since 1977. And Vern is here tonight as my escort. We've already talked to his wife in Indianapolis, but and I am delighted that my brother-in-law and sister-in-law came all the way from Central Illinois, and after the program we'll turn around and drive back there tonight, as Vern will drive back to Indianapolis. They came to see their brother honored, and I believe y'all have done so tonight. And I want to thank Michael Purinton, who also works at the Oates Institute, and who learned a lot from Chris and taught Chris a lot, and has been a rock for me, because he's the only other one that I knew that saw Chris every day. And so he understands when I pick up the phone and go, Michael, I don't know if I can do this. So thank you, Michael. Thanks to the Oates Institute for all their care, and to the Long Run Baptist Association for their starting this award and for their continued partnership all these years. He was an imp. He didn't just have an impish smile. He was an imp. And several of you can tell stories, and if you want to hear them, I promise his family knows them. It's true, his creativity knew no bounds. His vision bounded ahead of us all. He wrote, he painted, he played recorder. He could create computer links with 2 cans and a piece of string. His motto could have been, I didn't get to choose when I left this world, but I did get to choose how I lived my life in it. His sister Midge said that Chris came from a broken home. And he did, and it was broken at several different parts in many different ways and many different times. But he also, and Midge knows this well, created family wherever he was. He made family wherever, whenever, and I have never met all his families. But this was his great gift, connection. He found so many ways to connect to many different people. His minister's heart enabled him to connect other people to each other, bringing many people together in many different ways, and bringing many of you here tonight because of connection. To reach out to others, to be reached by others, to keep passing on that gift. Is there any other higher calling? Thank you.